Prince Harry and Meghan Markle have been deleted from pictures of Kris Jenner's 70th birthday party from Kris Jenner herself, the birthday girl, and Kim Kardashian. And it raises a lot of interesting questions. Why? Prince Harry and Meghan Markle went to that party knowing there was a photographer there. They were posing for pictures. They saw the paparazzi outside. So it's like we already knew they went. And it even dissuaded notions that they were gate crashing the party because they got pictures with the host, obviously. And I just can't help but wonder what is actually going on here. So, we are going to analyze this little bit of social media mystery because, believe it or not, this does reveal something about Harry and Meghan's status in Hollywood, what they mean to some of this elite crowd, and are they just beginning to annoy people? I mean, most of us are already annoyed, but are they going to annoy the people they actually want to be friends with? We are going to analyze all of it today. But if you guys haven't been to Royal News Network before, my name is Brittany. I do provide compelling royal commentary, so please hit that subscribe button. I would absolutely love to have you back. And we do have the Crown Report tomorrow. We had to reschedule it from today, November 11th. I do apologize. My allergies are a little bad today. And if I record something, I can remove all the sniffling. So it's going to be better that way. But tomorrow, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we'll go over all the royal news. And if you have not checked out the brand new Royal News Network necklace from Ana Lucia, you should. We've already had several sold. So I'm wearing the gold one today to match my gold buttons and gold earrings. So if you guys are interested in checking out this lovely, amazing piece, please do so. They are incredible, so lovely and gorgeous and amazing. These are so exciting. So, anyways, guys, and if you use code ROYAL20, you shall save 20%. So, I wasn't planning on doing this video today because I wanted to do something about As Ever because, oh my gosh, does that remain the most epic of train wrecks I've ever seen from any brand ever. I mean, Link Lauren ordered her candle and it had no wick. I'm really curious if you could burn it down and the wick is somewhere. Like, I really wanted him to test that out. But there's just a lot going on and a lot going sideways. I even got a mailer from Meghan today, an email talking about, oh, checking up on As Ever. And I'm like, nobody's buying this. But this little bit of, let's call it what it is, social media mystery is really fascinating to me because I'm like, why were their pictures deleted? Because there was no real reason to delete them. Because Harry and Meghan had to know there were pictures that were going to show up. I mean, that's the price you pay for a Kardashian event. It just is. And you have Bill Gates and Mark Zuckerberg and Paris Hilton and Kathy Hilton and many, many others who were willing to be featured. But Harry and Meghan didn't. And is it a bit of, let's say, party regret? Realizing that things are going sideways with the future of their royal titles? Like, what is really going on? And I do want to address a couple things here. Number one, Harry and Meghan did not crash this event. They were most likely definitely invited, if not by Kris herself. It was suggested by somebody else. And Harry and Meghan are on the periphery of all this. And what these events are is very much how Meghan Markle tried to turn her wedding into, which is a networking event. And sometimes with networking events, you don't really know the people, but you want to network with them. And when we look at Kris Jenner's pictures, you can see the people who I would say are her actual friends, people who are there because they are friends of the Kardashians, of Kris Jenner's, and they've been in the same circles for years and years and years. And you can feel that connection between them. Harry and Meghan definitely looked like a couple who were there, who are sort of peripherally part of that group, but not really integrated because they spent most of the time with each other in all the pictures that we saw. And if you are, let's say, comfortable in that world, you don't necessarily need to stick to your spouse because you can go around and talk to other people. I mean, that's what royals do. But I would imagine for Harry and Meghan, they are stuck together because the people they know best are each other. That would be my understanding. And again, we'll go through the pictures that were deleted and you can let me know what you think. I also don't think, and I want to, again, minimize this conversation piece right now, is that they deleted the pictures because, oh, they were getting so much backlash from them. Guys, the Kardashians have 300 plus million people on their Instagram accounts, or at least the highest level ones. They don't give a crap about negative people on there or trolls. I mean, give me a break. Their entire business model is basically based around ignoring the trolls, ignoring the naysayers, and making boatloads of money. They don't give a crap if you don't like Harry and Meghan and talk about it on their Instagram. They do not give a crap. And most likely, they didn't even see that, guys. When you're again talking about accounts with millions upon millions of followers, the only ones they're seeing at the most are the people who are they are actually friends with and actually following. So again, let's make that clear right now. We also don't have any solid, but at the same time, we don't have any solid reason as to why the pictures were deleted. So we go to, let's say, the Celebrity Bible here, People magazine, and it says in regards to the Kris Jenner and Kim Kardashian deleting the pictures, it said People has reached out to the Duke and Duchess of Sussex, Jenner and Kardashian for comment. However, they have not commented. And again, it just raises a lot of fascinating questions because I would think, and I think this is also true, that people say the Kardashians don't want Harry and Meghan to overshadow them. Well, if you don't want Harry and Meghan to overshadow, you never invite them anywhere. The headlines always goes to them, but at the same time, it kind of dissuades some of the negative publicity to them and not you. So I don't think there's much of that in this reasoning, to be quite honest, from the Kardashian Jenner side, because they were there. They invited them. They knew they were going to be there. They have to know. The Kardashians are smart. They have to know the reaction they're going to get, and they didn't really run away from it. So again, I can't help but think, okay, what are y'all doing? It's just I don't quite understand the reasoning here. So let's actually look at the pictures because there's also some bit of information you can glean from the Instagrams that again reveal something rather fascinating. So the first picture I saw, and this was on Kris Jenner's Instagram account here. And the first thing I thought is that Kris Jenner sort of hates Meghan Markle. Why? Because this is an atrocious picture. Meghan Markle looks horrifically bad. The dress looks awful. I'm actually probably going to do a whole fashion thing on it just because it astounds me how ugly this dress is, how unflattering it is, how it looks like she weighs 150 pounds when she probably weighs 110 pounds. Like I'm like, how do you choose a dress when you have all the money in the world? This is from Balenciaga. Why do you choose dress that adds 30 pounds to you? She looks very thick here. It comes down to body composition. This is not body shaming. It's just like it's fascinating that a woman who has access to so many resources cannot figure out how to dress her body. This is a body dressing issue, not really an issue of her body, but she doesn't know how to dress it. And so she chooses outfits like this one that cut her off in the worst way. And it's just an absolute mess. And Kris looks good here, and you have Harry leaning in, which I find to be rather interesting. But again, two things point out here. Number one, they're obviously posing for a much better picture by somebody else. And you have this most unflattering shot. Harry highlighting his bald spot here, which he's finally recognizing he has and just doesn't seem to want to do anything about. And then Meghan looking just awful. So I'm like, okay, I feel like this is very some subtle shade that Kris Jenner is throwing their way. And then we got another carousel. So Kris Jenner has released, I think, 4 carousels of her birthday. And here's the next one. So I found this one to be really weird. Harry oddly dancing. Meghan, of course, has to touch everybody because she's a stage 4 clinger. So she's got to cling to everyone. It's not really a flattering picture. And I think they both look weird. It both looks like to me that they're both really trying hard to connect and maybe trying a bit too hard. That's what it feels like to me. You got a couple of guys kind of laughing here. Everybody else is sort of ignoring them. So it just looks like Kris came over to chat with them for a hot second. They shared 2 seconds of dancing, and then Kris went off with her real friends. So that's what this definitely feels like to me. And then we have the next picture, which I feel like is one of the oddest of the bunch that Kris posted at all. And that's this one here, where Meghan's kind of, I guess you could say, the focus. But again, there's like not a lot of people around them, which I find just to be a little strange. And Meghan's reaching out. I guess this guy is an executive at Netflix, which makes sense because again, they're not really part of this community, but it's a good networking opportunity. And Harry is over there talking to other people. And again, I find this all a little awkward. It's like the picture composition is awkward. I feel like it's a weird one to sort of post. It feels very strange to me. And the whole interaction seems a little bit, you could say, staged or something. And what this again reminded me of is that I feel like everybody else is over there and they're kind of on their own over here. Because again, they're not really that connected. So they tend to stick together. And yes, married couples do. I get that. But if you really know people, you don't really have to fake the connection or like overdo it, but I feel like we have a little bit of that here. So next picture we have, this is one of them caught in the background. Obviously Meghan is not making a pretty face. I found the whole picture earlier, but we're just going to go with this little bit of screenshot of them behind. They are again together because again, my theory is that they don't really have any close connections to really anybody there, so they tend to stick to each other. And I mean, they do that anyways quite a lot. Again, Meghan Markle's a stage 4 clinger. Heaven forbid Harry talks to anybody else. But this is definitely not the most flattering shot. But that's the risk you take when you come to an event like this, is that you are caught unawares from behind or what have you. And they're not in charge of this event. They are merely guests. And guests that don't really have that much of a connection to the host and anybody else there. And then this is the picture of Meghan with Kim Kardashian. And Kim Kardashian is actually referencing James Bond. I have no clue what Meghan Markle is referencing. I don't even know what that monstrosity is that should be burned or at least given to somebody with a waistline. But it sort of looks terrible. Kim looks great. The color looks great. It's interesting. And Meghan looks kind of dull in comparison. And Harry's looking a bit like he's giving his card to somebody. Because again, this is all about networking. Harry's been trained from the beginning. Events like this are Meghan Markle's networking opportunities. So Harry needs to, give out their card to Archwell or whatever to get people to connect with them. And it looks like that's once again the Netflix executive. So they're kind of hanging around Netflix trying to, I'm sure, make sure they stay in Netflix's good graces. But I have a whole theory about how Harry and Meghan definitely, I mean, I 100% believe Netflix is not invested in them at all, in them as the future of Netflix. They're just not. They're there in case they get divorced, in case they finally come up with something interesting. But Netflix is not really all that engaged. But everybody plays nice. The thing about these events is that even if you don't really like somebody, even if you don't really know anybody, everybody plays nice in the vain opportunity that at some point you can utilize that connection to help yourself. That is how Meghan operates. That's how everybody here operates. So those are the pictures. But what about the pictures Kris kept? Because again, those reveal actually something rather interesting. So here we go. There's Kris Jenner's Instagram. And I want to start off with the first. These are the 4 carousels of her birthday party. Now, this is number 1. And Harry and Meghan were not in 1 or 2. It was just in 3 and 4 that they were included. So number 1, you choose, let's say, your favorite or the pictures of people you are most connected to in, let's say, the first carousel. And what is also interesting is that this one Meghan liked. She liked this one. And so we got Kris here, Kris with Corey. And then we have Mark Zuckerberg and Priscilla Chan. And again, we have a big camera right there because there's people walking around that whole event with massive cameras to take pictures to use on Instagram. And Mark Zuckerberg, I would argue, in some ways, it's like more questionable as to why he's there. Although I'm sure that Kardashians have made them a crap ton of money on Instagram. So it does make sense in a lot of ways. But at the same time, he feels like a little too prestigious for this type of event as a billionaire world changer with Facebook and Instagram and everything like that. But there we go. And then we have Kathy Hilton. And I was also looking for Harry and Meghan a lot in the background and wasn't seeing them very much. And then you have Mariah Carey, Kris with, I do not know who that is. And then with some girlfriends there, I'm sure. So I feel like I should know who that is and I don't. So you'll have to excuse me. There's Tommy Hilfiger, I believe. And we also have Alicia Keys down there. I don't know who that is. You'll have to excuse me. Then Kris herself, who looks amazing, by the way. Whoever did her plastic surgery was a genius because they made things work. There's Tommy Hilfiger again and his wife. And so then we had like the poker chips here. We have Kylie and Chris Rock with Kris. And then we have Meghan Trainor, I think her name is, and Paris Hilton. Obviously, Paris used to be Kim's boss. Kim was her assistant. So they have a big family connection there. They went to school together. There's Sierra. Don't know who that is. You'll have to excuse me. And then Kris and Corey. And then you see the background of people. That looks to me like Melanie Griffith, but I'm honestly not sure. Then we have Oprah Winfrey over here, the musical group playing. Again, no Harry and Meghan. And then photographer here. So again, and Mariah Carey in the background. Nobody else seems to have an issue. Mariah Carey, we have Tyler Perry and Kylie Jenner. So this is the first reel. And again, Meghan liked this one. Then we move on to reel number 2. Number 1, we have a like from Meghan. So we have the group picture here. Then we have Oprah Winfrey again. We have a group shot with people. I'm sure some of those people are notable and I just don't know their names. Justin Bieber was there. And then her with her friends. I don't know who that is. There's Chloe. I'm going to say that's Melanie Griffith. That may be Hailey Bieber there, but I'm not sure, to be honest. And then you have Kim and Kylie. And then likely friends. Then you have Chloe in the background. So you get people in the background of a lot of these pictures. 007. And then there's that end of that. So we have Meghan liking this one. But then all of a sudden it becomes to these 2 new ones where Harry and Meghan were featured. And number 1, Meghan doesn't like this one. So I looked it was just Lady Kitty Spencer who liked it, not Harry and Meghan. So we have the girls here. And then we have Bill Gates and Mark Zuckerberg and Paris Hilton and Kim Kardashian. That's kind of a big moment there. And then you have Lauren Sanchez and Jeff Bezos, who hosted it at their home. And then she's dancing with Justin Bieber. And these are the people, you actually have Adele right here, who they didn't really get any pictures with, but that might have been Adele's preference. And so you have, let's say, you've seen this woman in yellow quite a bit. There's Nikki Hilton. And so it looks like these are the people I would say in some ways are, let's say, somewhat closer because you have Kim here. I don't even see Harry and Meghan around in like the main crowd in a lot of ways. So let's keep going. Then we have Courtney here. And then the family all close by. We have these pictures. Again, Mariah Carey. We have Chloe in the background. This woman looks like an assistant because she was standing behind in another picture in a kind of a stiff pose like that. I would not be surprised if she's an assistant. And so the girls, we have Kendall and Chloe. And again, the Hilton sisters, because they were close. This woman in yellow, she looks like Yolanda Hadid, but I don't think it's her. Or she used to be Yolanda Hadid. So she's the mom of Bella and Gigi Hadid. It looks like her, but I don't know if that's really her or not. And then again, lots with Hilton, the real friends, Kathy Lee Griffith. And again, no like from Meghan. Same with this one here. And these are, again, the 2 places where Harry and Meghan's pictures were deleted. And so we have we have Kim's co-stars on her new show, which has like a 0% rating. There's Ryan Murphy right here. And so those are her co-stars. We have Naomi Watts and can't remember, Sarah Paulson, I think it is. So, and then we have Tina Knowles and Beyonce. So these are the 2, let's say, biggest ladies of the night and the ones that Kris personally thanked on stories for attending. Don't know who that is. And this, to me, the closeness of the crowd here, these are the people who I would argue are probably closest to Kris and kind of the most engaged in what's going on. So we have another picture. There's Mark Zuckerberg again. I'm just pointing those people out in the background because they didn't really have any issue being caught out in the background. What about why Harry and Meghan? So there we go. Oh, and that's Vin Diesel right there, who was a bit of surprise. We have Mariah Carey, Tyler Perry, Selma Blair. And she hearts it here. The girls again. Ryan Grazer, he must be another producer. Mark Zuckerberg, again, big movers and shakers. So again, no likes from Meghan, because again, you can see that when you follow somebody. And no likes from Meghan here. And then again, these were the two carousels where Harry and Meghan were featured, and then their pictures were suddenly deleted. And I know what you're thinking, Brittany, why does all this matter? Are you going over all these? Because why were they deleted? It doesn't make any sense. You have people who are big shots that are all over this. Didn't delete anything. Why Harry and Meghan? My personal theory is Harry and Meghan demanded that they were deleted because I don't think they wanted them there. And if I was a Kardashian and that is the case, and again, I'm just speculating, I'd be ticked. Because number one, I invited you. Number two, you knew there were cameras there. If you didn't want your picture to be posted, that should have been specified ahead of time. So you notice that Adele was there and there are no Adele pictures. Probably because Adele said, hey, I don't want any of my pictures being posted. And they're like, yes, of course, we understand. So the pictures that are taken are kept privately. And then the ones with Adele are shared, like maybe with her and the family or whatever, but don't reach the paparazzi. So you can arrange that. It's kind of like Harry saying, well, I was under duress because I was invited by the owner to sit in the box. And there's actually a video. So this was Kim before the event. It's on TikTok. She's doing a bit of a vlog and she gets this message from Snoop Dogg. And he's very kindly asking, hey, Kim, I want to come, but I just want to make sure. Is it okay if I smoke? And I think, of course, he's talking about marijuana. He goes, I don't really drink, but I smoke. And so he's like, I just want to make sure it's okay. If not, your mama doesn't like that. I totally understand. Like, it was very cordial, very nice. And I'm like, so Harry couldn't ask anybody at in the Dodgers box and go, hey, I need to root for the Blue Jays here. Obviously, my father is head of the Commonwealth of Canada, so I need to represent. And people would have gone, sure. And I don't know really what Kim's response to Snoop Dogg was. I think he was there. I'm honestly not sure. But Harry and Meghan apparently did it afterwards. And I can't help but think that was the really, really wrong move. And the question, of course, is why? Because I feel like this is Meghan Markle's dream, is to be considered by the Kardashians. Because again, royalty isn't good enough for Meghan Markle. She really wants to be a Kardashian. She wants the luxury and the excess that they have, not realizing it took them years, well over a decade. I mean, I'm sure we're catching up on 20 years to make that all happen. It did not happen overnight. And yeah, they had to essentially sell themselves. And what I mean by that is that they had to be willing to be ridiculed, willing to be mocked, and willing to make mistakes, and willing to do things over and over and over again as their wealth built, their fame built, their connection built over and over and over again to become this uber wealthy family. It didn't happen immediately. It happened over time. And I don't think Meghan Markle is somebody who really understands that some of these things take a lot of freaking time to actually happen. And I think too, as well, Harry was, and maybe Meghan too, were freaking out about the optics all of a sudden, because you have Andrew, who was very easily stripped of his title, and that all came out. And Harry and Meghan, the thing that they are not great at is actually planning out how things go. Again, I think Meghan Markle sees flash bulbs in her eyes from the paparazzi cameras and just goes crazy chasing it, only to later go, oh, maybe that wasn't such a good idea because they're getting a lot of criticism for it now. I'm sorry, but you already made the mistake. The die has already been cashed. You look inept by going back and redoing everything and going, oh, no, let's go back. Let's go back. No, you've already done it. The damage has already been done. Just accept it and just go from there. It's just, I don't quite understand what the angle is for them. It's just really, really odd. But the only thing that makes sense to me is that they demanded the pictures were taken down. And the Kardashians, even though they have a lot more power than Harry and Meghan, were polite and said, fine, whatever. But I feel like Harry and Meghan, by doing that, burned a lot of bridges there, because they should have specified ahead of time, hey, we're willing to have our pictures be taken with you, but we don't want any of them posted.
And apparently, guys, we do have an updated piece from TMZ, which says basically Harry and Meghan, or maybe the Kardashians, they weren't exactly clear, all of a sudden realized that given that it was Remembrance Sunday the next day, and obviously Veterans Day in the next couple of days, Maybe it wasn't such a good idea to post. Oh, you mean the ceremony that has been around for 100 years? It was somehow a big surprise to them. Again, it just shows you how inept Harry and Meghan and their team are. This is like, I mean, is there a separate calendar, like an imaginary delusional calendar somewhere in the Sussex household that gives them a different date or period of time? I mean, Harry's wearing a freaking poppy, and somehow it was only later that he realized, oh, optics of them being in the party might be bad, even though they went to the party with the poppy, knowing it was Remembrance Sunday the next day. I mean, this is just a catalog of stupidity if that is the case. It was an absolutely pathetic excuse.
In addition to that, when Adele walked in, she had her clutch in front of her face so you couldn't really see her. Beyonce and Tina Knowles found a secret entrance so no paparazzi shots were taken. Harry and Meghan, in particular, of course, Meghan, wanted to be seen going to this party. And then afterwards had buyer's remorse because I think they're starting to try to maybe figure out, okay, what if our titles are taken? What does that mean? And like maybe freaking out a little bit about optics. But it's too little too late. You never should have gone to the party in the first place. If you're worried about optics now, it's too bad. They posted the pictures. They're out there forever. It's the freaking internet, guys. Don't be dumb. The pictures are already there. Yes, Meghan, you look terrible in that dress. We all know it. You probably know it and saw it too. It's over. You can't go back and change things. And I feel like what they're trying to do is an immense amount of damage control, but it's not going to work. As ever, they played the cards all wrong and they're just left in an absolute mess. A mess of their own making, a mess they could have avoided. All they had to do was avoid going to our Kardashian party. All they had to do was say, no, you know what? We appreciate you guys. We're friends, but we have to think about the monarchy, future rules, these sorts of things. But Harry and Meghan just never seem to think that way until it's far too late. And Meghan Markle's, I think, always drive for the cameras ends up with her having a lot of remorse at the end. And it's just an epic train wreck. So guys, let me know what you think of this video. Thank you so much for watching, and I shall speak to you again very soon. Bye.